Hey, Jimmy. Oh, so that was a good chat tonight, wasn't it? Hey, Mickey. Hey, FOP, old man, Grumpy. Oh, listen to you over here, Grumpy. Meh. uh, hey, at least tonight ended good because my day was not that great at all. I'll tell you, once a couple more people get here. Hey, Mary Beth. Once a couple more people, I'll tell you about it. It was quite the interesting day, let me say that. But Pittsburgh had, hey, Publius, Pittsburgh had a little bit of an interesting situation this morning. Um, Left to go to work about 4 o'clock in the morning. Hey, Mickey. Hey, Nina. Rescue boss. Gibson. But what happened this morning was I left to go this morning. Hey, Brett. About 4 o'clock in the morning, was going up to work and just hardly even a flurry of snow coming down. No big deal at all. Get to work, load the truck, start heading off for Pittsburgh. Well, I started loading the truck at 5 o'clock. 5:30, I was heading out the door to head down to Pittsburgh to start my job. Um, Between the time that I started loading the truck and the time I drove the truck back out of the garage from where I was loading it at into the parking lot, it was snowing pretty bad. I mean, to the point that the parking lot was treacherous and starting to freeze over. I'm like, okay, this is interesting. But we get out on 422. 422 is just wet, but it's still snowing pretty good. By the time we got to 279, 279 split, we were down to 15 miles an hour. Now, this is morning rush hour, the start of morning rush hour. We're down to 15 miles an hour. The stretch of road that usually takes me about 15 minutes took me almost 45. So I get to my first stop, I do what I need to do, and I have to cut across town to get to my next stop. I did not see anybody at all out salting the roads or plowing the roads or doing anything with the roads at all. But it usually takes me 20 minutes to get to my next stop. It took me almost an hour. So I'm like, okay, this is going downhill fast. But the reason I bring this up is Pittsburgh kind of dropped the ball on that. I would say they dropped the ball because they did a little bit of, they quote, prepped the roads last night, which I didn't see that at all. Night, Moms. I hope you feel better, hon. Hey, Purple. And Backwoods. But yeah, I hope you feel better, Moms. I'll be praying for you. But as I said, the reason I bring that up is it could have went from bad to worse real quick. I mean, it was all hinging on which way the snow went, to be honest with you. Because I remember listening to the weather reports, they're saying the snow's going to be over by 9. 9 o'clock, it was still snowing like a banshee down there. And still nobody was out doing anything with the roads yet. So you have a decent sized city that nobody's doing anything with the roads. It's getting harder and harder and harder to get around. Um, if the snow got worse, maybe not on a large scale, on a national scale, but you could have had yourself a local SHTF right there at that moment. And it's all the best thing I can say. I was ready for it with what I had. I carry a get home bag in my truck. So if I had to pull the truck over and just sit there, I had something there to eat, keep myself occupied. Plus, I mean, the businesses were open. It wasn't like the businesses were were shuttering their doors or anything. So there's options, but that could quickly turn into like a localized SHTF situation in short order, just because nobody was doing anything with the roads till basically after the snow quit. Once the snow quit and they started throwing salt, it cleared stuff up real quick. But they didn't really have a. They claimed they didn't have a means to do during rush hour because there's too many people in the ditch and this, that, and the other thing. So, hey, Kenzie. So it's just one of those things. Is things you can be aware of. I mean, you prep for the big SHTF, but that's going to come in handy for all these smaller ones that are going to come along the way. Like I honestly thought we were going to see it. Yeah, this morning in Pittsburgh because it was getting bad. Okay, FOP. Oh, see, that's what I was thinking too. Backwoods. I mean, it's not easy to plow down Pittsburgh to begin with, but I mean, they didn't do anything till about noon. So I'm like, oh, great. Welcome back, Grumpy. Hey, old man. Hey, Frank. So it was an interesting situation. It actually you'd be surprised, Jimmy. It doesn't take much, and I think what it was there. Oh, exactly. I I've seen a couple close calls with those today. I think where the problem lies with Pittsburgh is they didn't prepare well enough for what was coming. They knew it was coming, and they didn't think it was going to be that much. So they just kind of brined the road real quick and called it done the night before, and it was snowing hard enough the brine couldn't keep up with it. So, I mean, they'd have to throw salt on it too. And if they would have got out early enough, exactly, exactly, purple. Well, that's what I was getting to backwoods. That's basically what happened. So it's not the first time that's happened to me. I had a couple other routes when I was running in the winter. I used to run up to Cleveland. Now, what Cleveland sees on a regular basis would probably shut Pittsburgh down. To be honest with you, because I remember going up to Cleveland. Oh, that's true. That's true. The only reason I'm bringing this up is they're a little bit more crap than what I was expecting. Even though up at Cleveland, see the thing between Cleveland and Pittsburgh though is Cleveland is flat. As long as you can keep momentum, you can get around Cleveland. Pittsburgh, yeah, not so much. Especially Oakland wasn't bad. I'll give credit there. Oakland wasn't bad. The strip Lothrop Street. Lothrop Street. That's the one over by Falk and Presby Hospital. You're right, backwoods. You're absolutely right. Hey, Rosanna. But it was quite an interesting situation. And once noon came around and everything was just wet by that point, I mean, no problem getting around. Yeah, Cleveland gets cold, but for some reason, like up at Cleveland, I can handle it. I actually handle Cleveland better than I can handle Pittsburgh. Go figure. And I remember going up 480 with a foot of snow on the road. I'm not pushing it with the bumper, but I can feel the snow piling up on the front. Or the truck I drive has what they call a straight axle in the front of it. It's not a drive axle, but it's a solid axle. It goes from side to side. It's not like an independent suspension deal. And I can feel the front axle pushing snow. Look at all the good skiing you got, Jimmy. You got good skiing out there. You can get around. Oh yeah, ice. Ugh. Don't worry, Jimmy. Neither do I. I've never seen the appeal of strapping two boards to my feet and throwing myself down a mountain. I just. Ugh. Same thing with ice skating on regular skates. Not. I tried that a couple of times. The last time I did that, I literally turned my nose inside out. I remember I'm sitting there. I'm like half, three-quarters of the way knocked out. They dragged me off the ice, and I'm just kind of laying there in the nurse's office at the skating rink over North Park. And the guy that's working at, night, Brett, and the paramedic or the nurse, whatever you want to call him, that was working at, walked over to me, grabbed the tip of my nose, and pulled it back out of my face. That hurt like hell. And I remember laying there. That's like a first date for me too with this one girl. And I remember just looking up at her and goes, "I want to see you again, but if you want to go ice skating, take somebody else." Just remember, Gibson girl, the insects, arachnids, well, the bugs, kill them with fire. No, just kidding, just kidding, just kidding. That's an inside joke between me and a friend of mine. She goes, "I hate spiders." I'm like, "Is it inside or outside?" It's outside. I'm like, "Kill it with fire." Actually, backwoods, the yak tracks, if you go to Field and Stream and Cranberry, they carry them there. I'm actually, well, I was gonna price them out on Amazon and see what the difference in price is over Field. It's probably gonna be a pretty decent difference in price. So I'll probably end up getting them off Amazon. See, I know what you're talking about, and there's a couple things that I need to get. I had to get there. Nobody else had it, so I was like, well, okay. Because myself, when it comes to that stuff, I actually prefer to get a Dunham's. Dunham still carries AR-15s, M1s, and Model 1911. So now with that, I don't know how many of you guys have a Dunham's around you. Because the Dunham's I go to down Chippewa actually has a lot of different stuff. Oh, it's you two playing games again with everybody. because I'm not seeing it on my end. But yeah, because Dunham's, yeah, because I used the one in Chippewa because I could get to that one in about 15 minutes. But they have there's some good stuff down there. And it all depends on what they get. Dunham's is like a sporting goods store, and they do everything from like baseball, basketball, but they carry a ton of hunting stuff, a ton of camping stuff, kayaking, stuff like that. But they're kind of like I won't say like a wholesale they're more like a clearance. They're kind of like the big lots of the sporting goods world. I got a kayak there for like $223, where everybody else wanted like 300 and some to 400 and some for the same kayak. Um, what else I get there? I got a tripod grill for my mother for Christmas. Oh man, yeah, I better go check my subs in. Hey, Christy. Yeah, but I've gotten molly bags there. I've gotten some pretty nice knives there. As I said, they have a. Last time I was on there, they had a pretty decent selection of AR-15s at decent prices. Model 1911, 45 ACP, decent selections. Oh, I mentioned guns. I'm probably gonna get demonetized now. Wait a minute, I'm not monetized anyway, so hell with it. Oh, there you go, old man. You okay, bud? Zeus is over here moaning. Why, I don't know, but he's over here moaning. But I'm trying to think what some other good stores. Oh, there you go, Gansey. Um, let's see, Tractor Supply will have some decent stuff. Rural King. If you have a Rural King, they actually have a camping section there. They have a hunting section there. You can get AR-15 parts at Rural King. The one thing you want to look out for is if you're going to go start buying AR-15 parts, get mil spec. Backwoods Law taught me that. Get mil spec. Yeah, see, thrift stores is another one. In fact, I have to go to Goodwill, not for anything for prepping or anything, but I'm looking for an old skillet. Now, why am I looking for an old skillet? I have a bolt that fits my camera. I'm going to drill a hole in the skillet, stick the bolt up through there, kind of nut it on, and I could use that, mount my camera to it, and I can get very low angle shots with it. Yeah, well, the last time I have to look at World King again, but the last time I was there, they're selling uppers and lowers there. So if you get those two, then once you could get everything else. So, one of my favorite things to do for some of my stuff though is flea markets. I don't care who donates the stuff. I just need an old skillet. Actually, Grumpy, we have a horse. We have a horse. I can make it to the thrift store. We have a horse. See, old barn sales are fun too. I haven't been to one in a long time. But flea markets like the one I go to at Portersville during the steam show, all kinds of stuff shows up there. If you're looking for a hit and miss engine, you'll probably find one there. If you're looking for antique garden tractors, anything antique that has to do with tractors or transportation or cars, or like you will find it there, along with the tools to work on it, plus hand tools. I mean, there's one guy. Well, he didn't show up this year. There's one guy last year showed up. He had a whole tent full of different draw knives, everywhere from a flat draw knife to a full loop, depending on what you're working on. Okay, I'll let you know, Rescue Boss. I should be able to find something here. I mean, it doesn't have to be too elaborate. You see, we used to have an auction house around here. They mostly sold furniture, but you're able to move anything through there. Plus, I have to make it up to the auction in New Wilmington. A buddy of mine actually runs that, except he runs they have the auction while I'm still at work. So by the time I get done with work and get up, the auction's over. But it's up in Amish country, and a lot of the Amish, like stuff that they don't use anymore, that they may have moved on or maybe upgraded. Yes, Amish will upgrade. Maybe not into like a gas powered deal, but let's say they were cutting grass with sickles and they finally got enough money to get a horse. They actually have horse drawn brush hogs now. They can actually hook two horses up to a brush hog and it's wheel driven, so they can brush hog a field with two horses. So they don't have to use the sickles to do the mowing anymore. Yeah, because lodge stuff. We have lodge stuff, and we have. Do believe we have Griswold iron, cast iron here too. They both work just as good as the other, just as good as the other one. Let's see, like the auctions. I don't really do eBay too much anymore. Most of the auctions that I do are live. Like I'm not live on eBay, but I'll go to the auction. Um, Big Knob Grange will have one every once in a while for new stuff, and their stuff goes cheap. I mean, dirt cheap. Yeah, so is my mother. She has the full collection of cast iron from your little egg skillet to the big campfire pan and everything in between, plus a Dutch oven and a square skillet. Well, yeah, there are live auctions online now too, but like if anymore, if I go to an auction, if I can't walk to, I mean, if I can't drive to the auction, pick up what I want to bid on, and look at it, I don't really bother. That's just the way I am. I'm the same way with buying stuff. Like I try not to buy off eBay or Amazon if I don't have to. I'll usually. I'm the type of person that I'll spend a couple extra dollars if I can hold it in my hand. Oh, Husky Wolf half breeds. Oh yeah, they're good dogs. Are you getting it done, Gibson girl? That's awesome. Well, see, that's the beautiful thing about the auctions I go to. There's no online service to them. You're at the auction or you're not at the auction. There is no sitting at home pressing a button. Oh, question for you guys. Did you guys happen to notice the picture or the pictures I've been using for my chats as of late? Exactly, Christy. Exactly. Like what Christy just said here, you find a good estate sale ran by the family of deceased elderly, they just want the old stuff gone. Just get rid of it. Okay, Grumpy, see, for my chats, for my picture, for my chats, just to let you guys know, fill you guys in. Okay, I'm using my own pictures for it now. I mean, I have about 7 years worth of edited pictures, so I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to start using my own pictures instead of looking around online. Oh, I believe I can, see. So I can kind of start wrapping my photography up in this too. So yeah, you guys can probably tell I'm starting to hit the wall already. Oh, this has been a fun day. Oh, I do the same thing, old man. Oh, I know sterno is cheap. I have a sterno stove. That's one thing for your preps. That's one thing you may want to look into is a sterno stove. I mean, sterno's cheap. You can keep it on. I mean, heck, there's some back it up there. There's some sterno right there. Oh, there you go, Cindy. But see that's kind of good to know you have because I know a couple other people around here that they found a coal seam on their property. One guy just happens to be a blacksmith. He goes, I never buy coal. I just go back to the seam, chisel some out. Yeah, he goes back to the seam, chisels some out. He throws in his forge. He got his own coal. Um, that and he worked out a deal with the local scrap guy. that he gets carbonated steel for next to nothing. He gets it for scrap value. Night, Mary Beth. Yeah, the sterno. That's where I got my sterno at. I got it at Wally World. I think it's something like $1.50 to $2 a thing now. Oh, see, that's happened to me a couple times too, Jimmy. That's one reason I don't even really mess around with eBay. It seems like because eBay will let you put in a bid, like maybe $10 more than what the highest bid is, but you can set how many, what to dole it out as, like maybe 50 cents, 25 cents, a dollar, or whatever in increments until you reach that $10. So you have to reset it again. I used to do that, and people were starting to snipe that. So I'm like, ugh. FLP with the 50 cal buy it now button. Boom. Oh, that's a good thing to have, old man. I mean, those old multi-fuel stoves, those are just kind of like a deuce and a half of stoves. If it burns, you can throw it in there, and you got something to work with, something to cook on. So, see, that's the whole thing. I hold on to my antiques. I have a bunch of antique. Hey, Killdeer, I have a bunch of antique hand tools. I have a couple froze, um, two bracing bits. I have a regular bracing bit, and a regular bracing bit is for regular drill bits. Then I have a ratcheting bracing bit that's for augers. And the other difference, if you look at the vise where the bit goes in, the regular bracing bit has the three prong, just comes and just clamps down like a regular drill. But the ratcheting bracing bit has a square drive in it, and that regular bracing bit is what you're going to put your auger bits into. I mean, not the regular, but the ratcheting one. And the reason it's ratcheting is when you're using your bracing bit, you're going like this, you're going clockwise. But what you can do is once you get over here with that ratcheting motion, as long as you have a as long as that bit has good purchase in the wood, you use that ratcheting motion to constantly stay in your power stroke, because it's hard to push it around and bring it back around again. But once you get in that power stroke, you're constantly pulling that. You can constantly pull that bit and make it work the whole time instead of trying to fight it around and get another good pull on it. I also have two hand drills. I got the little one. People call them like a little didgeridoo. They're a hand drill. I got a little one about yo tall, single speed. Then I have one that is about yo tall. You actually rest. They call it a chest drill. There's a pad on. You can turn the pad, set your chest on it, and you become the drill press. It's a 2-speed. You could change the gear on it, either more torque. I could extend out the handle on it to get more torque on it that way as well. But that's a very useful tool to have. What else I have? I have a couple old draw knives, spoke shave. Yeah, see, those hand drills come in real handy. But I'm trying to think, I have a couple other things too. Like the little spoke shaves, that's a handy little piece right there too. Oh, you talking about Bob Ross, Rescue Boss? Oh, I like Bob Ross. So his sister just stroking a brush around, made some really nice pictures. So, um, not so much tack stores, but over in 65 between New Brighton and Elwood is Lutz's Leather. Um, I'm thinking he might have some tools there. Because I know the tack store is actually like Luster's, which just closed, was over in Zillionople. They might have tools, they might not. I'm not sure. You may want to call them up first. I know Lutz is the tack store that's over by Zillionople that closed. They didn't carry any leather tools unless you needed a punch. That's all they carried was like leather punches. If you need a leather punch, come here. I got like 4 of them. I'll give you one. Yeah, I got 3 of them. I have, well, 2 of my draw knives are about 120 years old. They are my great grandfather Kronks. Then the other one I have is, you know, this may sound stupid backwards. You try over at Michael's? Michael's has their leather isn't their leather selection isn't the greatest, but they have all the tools hanging there. Probably not the greatest tool in the world, but yeah, because I was just there. I seen one there. You know, one of them round cutters are about what? About yo big around? Okay, backwoods. Fair enough. Trying to see was yeah, Kenzie. I got the squeeze sight. Okay, I got you. I got you. Hi, Jimmy. But trying to think where else. Yeah, for the actual leatherworking tools, like for the good ones, you'll probably have to go online for that because, as I said, check out Lutz's. Lutz's may have something for you. Maybe, maybe not. As I said, I'd give Lutz Leather a call first. But other than that, there's not really too much because the only tax store that we used to go to just closed. So, night, Publis. Okay, let's see this thing here. Oh, okay, I see what you're talking about. I haven't really done any leather work, Kanzi, so I couldn't really tell you. But if I had to pick one that I didn't do but worked for me really good was a saddle stitch, just because I used to ride, and on our saddles, whatever saddle we get, that's the first thing I check is how's that stitching done. If the stitching isn't done to my liking, I'll pass that saddle up. I don't care how expensive or whose name's on it. Out the door it goes. And backwoods, I might have something here that you might be able to use. Give me 1 second. How about an Ulu? Would that work for you? That's the handle on it. It's not quite like a head knife, but same basic idea. In fact, I have to run the sharpener on this thing. I got this thing for a song and a dance, and I was going to try a couple things with it. Okay, I got you. Hey, I'm trying to help you out. I was just going to give this to you. But I got you. It's cool. Ah, okay. But trying to think, that's the only two places I know of right now. Um, yeah, one of the specialist tools that you need it for certain things, but you don't need it for everything. I have a, I have a lot of tools in my toolbox for cars that are like that, like the bits for taking off calipers for a Ford. That star, that big like 25 millimeter star deal. I have one of those. The only thing I ever needed it for is for Ford and for doing seat belts. That's it. That's the original reason I got it, Kenzie, is I was going to skin bark with it. Or shave bark with it to make walking sticks. Yeah, like, what else? I have a couple specialist tools in my toolbox. Like this thing. I'll tell you what's funny with this. This is, you can't really see it in the camera, but this thing's actually pretty thick. So look at me, says that's an awfully neat looking slot chopper. I'm like, this ain't no slot chopper, dude. No slot chopper. And see, I wanted to get an Ulu. Oh, I got my Ulu. Yeah, these things are very, very versatile. Just like these are versatile. A Kukri is another very versatile blade. Yep, I think you are there, backwoods. A Kukri is another very useful one, especially the one I have. I mean, it's huge. And the last thing I got, and it's actually a defensive knife, but I actually got it for woodworking just because of the way the blade's shaped, is a karambit. See, there you go, Cindy. That's actually another good thing to have, especially with the sheet metal, especially if you have a way to make electricity or a way to move air to make ductwork, as well as some other things. Um, I was going to say with the sheet metal, another thing you can use the sheet metal for is actually making a smoker, a dehydrator. I mean, after SHTF, you could actually on in the summer you could actually use a vehicle to dehydrate. But if the vehicle is still runnable, like let's say it wasn't the EMP, is some let's say we have a financial collapse, you might want to drive that vehicle so you're not going to take it off the road to dehydrate your food. So that's where sheet metal will come in. Another one, flue pipe, chimneys. There's a That's like one of those things that has about 1,000,001 uses to it. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna go put this back away here. I was talking about the kukri. That's the kukri in question. That's old man. Here's your limb remover. I'm not sure, but they come from the other side of the Pacific. I think they're Thai or either Thai or Vietnamese. I believe. Don't quote me on that. But the Viet Cong used these a lot. You, you might be right. I think you might be right on that one, Backwoods. Now, I got to pull this out one more time. Anytime you pull out something big enough to make Crocodile Dundee take pause, you've done something right. Actually, it came with the sheath. It came with a leather sheath like that. Um, yeah, but this thing, I've used this a couple times already, and this actually was actually pretty. It's a pretty decent just cutting tool, or or just like a regular cutting tool. But this thing also comes in. I mean, it's thick, has a lot of good forward weight to it. So it's a good chopper too. Oh, I'm not sure. I think it has about. Let's see about something to major with here. Do 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 do. No, nothing here. Urgh. Oh yes, I do. Aha! If I can get it off without dropping everything else on the floor. Yay! The blade itself is just short of 1 foot. Overall length is 17 inches. And this thing here, this one here, the kukri I got here, this is a no name. And the reason I picked it up is the price is right on this. Most kukris I've seen like this, except the Sog one, have been over like 70 to 200 and some dollars. This was $40. And I've already, I was chopping down trees about that big around with it. Oh, jeez. This almost kind of well, I won't say matches, but I have a smaller knife that's kind of like this, but it's not a kukri. It's more like a buffalo skinner. I have to turn the light on for this one. Hey, Mickey. Actually, what I'm using on right now because it hasn't really gotten dull yet is I got this. It's Lansky's diamond rod. That's pointing on one end, straight on the other. And just a couple passes with this and it's good to go again. But here is the custom knife. You can't really see the handle too much, but the handle is walnut burl. It is D2 stainless, and this thing I kind of got for a song and a dance. I've talked about this knife before. This knife was actually made for somebody, and when the guy came and picked it up, he looked at it, didn't like it, and rejected it, and walked away. So the guy was kind of stuck with it, the guy who made it. So he put it on his table for, I think he wanted something like $42.50. Yeah, it's $42.50 for it. This was like a $400 knife. But I like this one. I haven't really taken this one out too much and used it that much because, like, I don't. It's one of those things like you ever buy something that you're afraid of messing it up. That's where I'm. That's where I'm at with this. I'm like, I really want to take it out and use it, but I don't want to scratch it. I mean, finding walnut burl is hard enough in and of itself. I mean, let's see. Can you get? There you go. You can see a walnut burl pattern in there now. Yeah, and this thing is actually, that kukri is fairly heavy. This thing's actually heavier than the kukri. The kukri has like the nylon grip on it and everything. The walnut and the brass on this thing give it a lot of weight. And it came with a leather sheath. The leather sheath I'm not too crazy on. So I think for one of my first leather working projects, I think I'm going to make a sheath for this. Oh, it's not the blade I'm worried about scratching, it's the handle. I mean, that walnut burl is just beautiful. I'm like, I don't want to mess it up. But what I think I'm going to do is I am eventually going to take it out here sometime in the near future and just get used to using this one. But before I take it out, what I'm going to do is I'm going to, especially the handle, I was reading what Cindy had to need a traveling tinker in a horse-drawn caravan. I haven't. I think a horse-drawn caravan would be kind of fun myself, but I'm a horse guy. What can I say? Yeah, as I said, the sheath on this isn't the greatest. I was going to do a little bit of a different sheath, so it's probably going to be a little bit shorter. But I'm also going to put a piece of leather around it with a snap, a little bit more of a positive stop to keep this thing from falling out. Because you can turn this sheath over upside down for any reason, it just falls right out. Has like no holding value whatsoever. Yeah, but this thing, like back was said, this thing should, the blade itself should be fine. And once I put some fixing wax on the back here in the handle, that should be good to go. Never eaten horse meat. The horse-drawn flea market. Oh yeah, yeah. A lot of times in those caravans, um, I wouldn't even really say caravans. Let's say that people when they start off at St. Louis and start going across the Oregon Trail. What a lot of these guys would do is when they would put a group together, they would instead of just a bunch of people showing up and say, well, it actually happened both ways. Sometimes they'd show up, they give a guide money, donor party, and at St. Louis and say, okay, take us to California. Or one person would hire, oh, okay, cool. Or a lot of times what would happen is one person would go out and find a guide, pay the guide. And he goes, well, I'll tell the guy, well, what you do is I want you to put the group together. So the guide knows who he has to work with. And the guide, when the guide would do that, I mean, the guide had a ton of a list of jobs this long. But when the guide would do that, he would find somebody who's good in this, find somebody who's good in this, find somebody who's good in this, find somebody, and just start grabbing people with different skill sets. So he didn't have to do everything. He knew he had somebody he could fall back on depending on what the situation was. But yeah, we're pretty much at the top of the hour here, so I think you guys heard me go through all the promo stuff before, so I'm gonna let that go for tonight. But I thank you guys for coming. I appreciate it. I love y'all, and y'all have a great night. All right, because I am hitting the wall pretty hard here. You can tell by the way I'm talking. I'm just blah 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 blah. Blah. But y'all have a good night.